To begin today's conversation, Tapas, can you tell the audience what is React Play?
Sure. Okay, so I have to go back to history a bit to talk about React Play. I'm sure Koustov also will have enough to add to that. So when I started my YouTube channel, I was teaching people React on my YouTube channel. And then what was happening is like I was getting a lot of comments is like, okay, this course is great, but what I can build? Then I was giving certain ideas like, hey, you can build a calculator, you can build a clock, you can build a kind of shopping cart and things like that. Then they're saying that where to build it. Then again, I was telling like, okay, you can build on this platform, host on that platform, and things like that. Then I was thinking is like, if we can actually aggregate this thing, like if one person builds and another person start looking into it and start learning, like how other person have done it. Not only that, it can be part of the journey of the building itself. Then that will be really awesome. So that's why the React Play idea kicked in. To be very honest, I created that small project only for myself, kept it for myself for a while. Then it's thought like, okay, this will be a great opportunity to kind of open it up, give it to folks where they can actually start playing around, they can contribute. And if we are lucky, it is going to grow. And if it is growing, there will be a lot of people, they'll get benefit out of this one. So that's how it got started basically. Today, where it stands, we started 3.5 months back. Today, where it stands from the day that it started, I see as a great amount of momentum and interest in people that they find this platform useful as a developer platform, as a platform to learn from. So that's where a lot of kicks come from. And Koustov, of course, he is there since beginning. Since we started making it open source, he is also there with the project.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. Yeah, parting about the history, I would rather say that what's going on today. So yeah, seeing on the GitHub, probably seeing on the bit of on the Twitter on others, may not give the entire picture that what React Play is doing today. You need to really get into the Discord. You must see the enthusiasm
Yeah.
that's going around what we do have more than 15 to 20 channels, and people are super enthusiastic about that. They are bringing ideas, they are bringing the solutions, they are bringing the problem, they are bringing the challenges. So that's where I really love it. Yeah, there are graphs in statistics talking about that how many people have visited, how many people have started, and all those things. Those are pretty public. I don't want to talk about that, but there are certain things under the hood that makes you super means that is the encouragement factor whenever you are running something like this as a especially having a targeted platform. We have a very specific vision, and people are aligned, and people are getting joined every day. We are actually people are getting added with us, and that's fantastic. That's the experience I must say that everyone should have.
We have 97 folks joined Discord in last 1 month. We have opened it up like just a little more than 1 month, and I see like the engagement is kind of going high over there in terms of asking questions. And I think there's one point to add here is like, though the project name is React Play and we are React focused people, but the kind of discussion that happen in Discord is not limited to React. People talk about content writing, people talk about APIs, people talk about full stack and whatever they can learn from each other.
Tapas, you mentioned that initially you made it a personal project and then you made it public. So why did you do that? And more importantly, what changes you had to make the project more accessible?
Yeah. Yeah. So why I did that is basically because I felt like it is going to benefit people more than me. Just me is not enough. And being an open source enthusiast, doing a lot of open source contribution in past, I'm really glued to it. Like if something I'm doing, it should benefit everybody else, right? So that from that mindset. So from the moment I felt like it is going to do, I made it public immediately. The changes that I had to do in project, not really from anything from the code point of view, but little bit from how I manage the project, right? So I had to get things like contributing MD file. I have to do like code of conduct. I have to put correct licenses in. I have to make sure that there is proper pipeline for the deployment. Like if many members are kind of coming and start building things, there is a pipeline created where they can actually see their branch build, how this is going to work, how the production is going to happen, where to deploy, what kind of platform will be good for us. So I think those are the thoughts that took some time, and then once we figured that out, I think it was quite good. Like we just made it public, did a small announcement on Twitter, like hey, there's something like this existing, and that's how it got started basically.
And Kostav, you joined Tapas when he made the project open source. So what was your thought behind that?
Well, it's comes from, it's not thought, rather I would say the idea. So that was the driving factor for the React Play till today. So now my perception on the idea, you definitely I have to sell it to myself first. If I am becoming the customer and I am pretty happy about that particular prospect, definitely I'll be in almost for everything, right? So yeah, the idea, when we actually started discussing about the vision, mission from the start, short time perception or the long time goal and all those things. It was pretty encouraging. It was pretty, you see, right, you get encouraged not when like everything is smooth, everything is feasible, journey doesn't have any kind of hiccups and all those things, but you will get encouraged when you see those challenges are there that you have to actually cross over. And those are the actually building blocks today. Because yes, as you heard, that there are n number of people right now, there are n number of projects right now, and it will only grow. So there are a lot of factors like scalability, performance, and all those things that encourage every single developer who actually has the interest. So my thought process on this was, I wanted to see this live and people getting benefited, because this was, as I said in the starting, right? So this is a very targeted vision. It's not super wide open. It is open, but it is not super wide open. It has got a vision. It has got a thought, like it needs, means it encourages people to learn not only from the React perspective but the ecosystem. So that actually encouraged me, that actually pushed me forward. And believe me, I don't think I have taken more than a minute to say yes.
Yeah, thankfully.
Yeah.
So how does the learning process take place on React Play? How do folks actually learn? Kostav, you can go first if you want.
Yeah, Kosa, go ahead.
Yes. So, okay, I'll start from the ecosystem, right? We have two different things in the React Play. One is definitely the infrastructure or the main platform that has to grow. It cannot just fire and forget kind of things. Like we started with where we actually expected, not expected, but actually we had a very few plays. That's fine. But as it started growing, we have to support that from every aspect, like infrastructure, from CI/CD perspective, from performance, scalability, and all those things. So these are the definitely items. Now when I started talking about this, I told you that there are two things very specifically. One is very much learning, learning React, understand it, and create a play, maybe more than a play, more than one. You can go and create it on various aspect of React. In fact, you want to spend some more time on the styling also, it's absolutely fine. And the second aspect comes from the perspective of like maintaining this infrastructure is huge. Okay, maintaining that. So people are learning 360-degree here. Now if I talk first, let's talk about the play. How does it go? People have idea. Actually there are two things in that also. We have an idea portal where we actually list down all the ideas. People can come and start discussing about that and create a play. Now it can be, for example, it can be a calculator. They can start discussing, even they can just go and assign themselves and start working on that. What they're learning here, they're learning that how actually React works. Anyone who'd never seen React will get started with that, will get bootstrapped with that. Now thing is, we often say, right, anyone can code, but only the person with a good experience and the logic can write a good code. So that's where actually this infrastructure comes into the picture. The CI/CD comes into the picture, and more of, I keep it on the top actually. More of all these things, we have a very stringent review process. Okay, so this is where people start learning that hey, it's not all just bunch of words and lines you write and calculate is working. Is that enough? No, it's not. So that's why people started learning that how actually React should behave, how web applications should behave, how a browser behaves, or maybe the how the different contexts that you have within the application, how the style behaves, and also the best practices and all those things. So you see that. So there are a lot of things. It might sound like React Play, come and play with React. Not exactly. It's much more, much means it's much bigger than that. Now this is from the play, and this is, you can think about this is only a very small subset when someone comes and create a play. But when someone's actually contributing towards the platform, it is the space or the surface is much wider than that, where we are talking about architecture, where we are actually talking about the modularity, we are talking about the scalability, different algorithms and all those things. So yes, the answer might be pretty long, but yes, there are n number of things right now, and I would rather put quote on that. Literally there are n number of things that going on within the React Play, people come and learn. And it's not only, let's understand that it's not only limited within the technology. Whatever I just talked about the technology, you actually start learning about probably blogging, testing, and many other things. In fact automation, CI/CD pipeline, a lot of things, GitHub actions.
GraphQL,
Yeah,
Hasuna, GraphQL, all the stuff.
yeah, so we have a in our site it's written that how many technologies that we are using today, and it is only growing. Okay, so yeah, GraphQL, Hasura, there are n number of things there. So yes, it's a 360-degree learning. I would not say that every single thing in the globe that you have, you will be having it in React Play. No, not really. But whatever you have in the React Play, it makes you good enough. It makes you sustainable enough to learn the ecosystem how it works. That's all. That was pretty long.
So basically, you're focusing on learning by doing here.
Yeah,
Folks have to make projects and then they can learn on the go.
yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's not a kind of a readme kind of application. Very frankly, you come, do the job, and we all know, right? Learning is never completed without doing the actual execution of it. So that's where React Play comes into the picture.
So now let's talk about folks contributing to React Play. So how can folks actually contribute to React Play?
Okay, so there are various aspects to contribute to React Play. So unlike many other open source projects where the end thing could be a product that somebody will be using, the
Yeah,
React Play is different because the end goal is the learning, right? The aim is to learn. Aim is to empower
yeah,
yourself with
makes sense.
learning. And as Costa was mentioning, that is not only about React; it's about the full stack. So anywhere and everywhere that you are interested in to pitch in, technology wise, you are welcome. You can contribute. You can make the platform better. You can make our database better. You can make our APIs better. You can make our UI better. Everything. You can make our documentation better. On top of that, if you want to contribute to the projects which we call play in React Play, you can build at
Okay.
any point of time. We have opened up the channel, like you are done with the project, but let's not leave it there. You're sharing on Twitter, you're sharing on say, LinkedIn. Let's not leave it there. Let it be more persistent. How? You write content about it. We have React Play blog today. The
Okay.
blog.reactplay.io hosts the React Play blog. And if you see that there are probably close to 20 articles already published by all the contributors, go and write about it. That is more persistent way of saying that what you have built to the world, and you can actually share that anywhere more persistent way. So you can contribute to technical writing, right? You can learn from that. Very soon we'll be launching something called React Play Live, where you are sitting, Sanskar, probably I'll be sitting there, and I'll be interviewing people who have created the play, just going through their code and talking about like
Okay.
how they have developed it. And we'll kind of open it up to many other developers where they can join live, ask the developer questions, and kind of learn from it. So there are various different ways that one developer can contribute. And if you just notice the way that Kostav explained, or the whatever I explained, is 360-degree learning. Today, the way that the world is moving, just somebody sitting in the corner of the room and doing coding, not taking them anywhere. That's why you were saying that there are so many people are shouting on Twitter that look at me, I'm doing this, right? Because they want to be visible. And there is one way of visible like 360 learning. It's not only just about coding. It's about how you talk about your own accomplishment. You write blog, you do like YouTube
True.
stuff,
True.
you go ahead and tell about your journey. We want this platform, people to utilize this platform to go from one to n by doing all these things. So that's how everybody can contribute and learn.
True, makes sense. So let's say I am visiting React Play's GitHub repository for the first time and I want to contribute by solving an issue.
Yeah.
But while solving the issue, I face a challenge, I face a problem. So
Mhm.
where can I ask for help and get connected with the community?
There are various ways you can do that. One is like you can come to Discord at any point of time. The Discord link is there on the web page itself. You can come and connect. There is a channel called Needs Help. You can actually put your question over there, and our response time cost of what it is, maybe a few seconds. So I see like
So
response time is few seconds.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
So whatever the problem you just explained is probably our daily routine nowadays.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So
Not,
somebody will respond.
yeah, it's not nowadays. It's been going on. Like, yes, we do face issues while doing something. There could be anything. Okay. In fact, it is not getting deployed. That's also an issue. You come back to Discord. There are n number of folks. There are actually bunch of folks super enthusiastic, as I said. It's literally in seconds that you will get response, as because it is well managed, very frankly. Whenever you need help, there is a Discord will we have enabled that Discord will create threads for you, so it's a separate discussion going on for only your issue on that particular thread, so that it doesn't get mixed up, we don't get lost and all those things. Yes, so anytime you have issue, come to Discord.
Yeah, another way also could be is like you can tag us on React Play Twitter handle. So there is a Twitter handle at React Play IO. Recently we crossed 1,000 followers over there, and so you can always DM us. You know there will be somebody responding to. But the proper method would be come to Discord, and if you need any help, the GitHub discussion is another channel which is also open. In our repository. Before Discord, we used to use GitHub discussions quite actively, and we like that. But Discord seems to be more manageable and more
Hmm.
tracking and all are like much better. Yeah.
So Kostav, Tapas mentioned about the blogging website as well. So can I touch up a bit more like what are the aspects for non-code contribution to React Play?
You okay? um okay, I'll repeat. So let's start with one particular thought. We are saying that our end goal is learning. Someone will earn, but someone has to distribute it, right? Someone has to spread it, then someone will catch it. So that this is the one of the very good aspect where we are talking about. Okay, you don't code, you review. If you are good at that, so that will help us learn. Every one of us learn, and that's where we actually grow. That probably one of the aspect. You are not so very keen about the coding, but you are very good in DevOps. Why not you join us? Because we have a bunch of DevOps stuff that is going on. Similarly, for the database, from the designing perspective, from relational, it's everything actually. We often get into a discussion that how the indexes will be, what are the ways of actually getting those indexes, what are the complex indexes, maybe what is the relationship that we should manage, and how the permissions and roles should be managed. Yes, you can do that. Now then, obviously blogs we just touched up, like you want to write the content. Second, documentations. We have folks here who actually touch on document and making it better every single day. We have folks who are interested to create the unit test cases, not the actual code. We would be having folks who will be working on actively on the automation. Then we have folks here who actually works on the pretty much the underneath layer, which is kind of a um, it's a kind of a API layer, but it's rather a wrapper layer to the API layer, where we do quite a lot of things. We have certain workflows that involved. Okay, that's also one thing. But means you think this way. You want to get attached to the React Play. You want to see the React Play grow. You have a bunch of things you can do, and more, top of all, get ideas. It's not about the play ideas. think about the vision, think about that how we can make it better. So it is open source. It's nowhere there is a tapas or cost of there. So it's a open source. It's your project. It's all everyone's project. Think about it. Bring the ideas. That's also nothing technical, but you can always pitch in for those maybe architecture discussion, maybe idea discussions, presentations, or maybe you can actually just enhance the surface where React Play is reaching out to the people. You go and start tagging it. You go and share the threads. I think I can continue to talk about this kind of a different aspect for another half an hour. But yes, you can think about it's an ecosystem. Okay, very frankly, if I give a short answer, it's an ecosystem. It's maybe it's a product, but it's an open source product. But the idea of the product is someone should be benefited from the learning perspective. If you have this different context in your mind, you have bunch of things, you have tons of things in React Play you can actually do. You don't have to code.
Yeah. One more, just you covered it really well. One more just thing I want to add is non-code aspects is the UX in the design part. So if you see that React design, I think we get a lot of good words from people, like the design of the homepage and is very good. But there are few other places where we are planning to revamp. And if anybody wants to come up with a great design ideas, want to discuss with the community, we are there to implement, come up with the ideas. Yeah. So that's.
So while going through the GitHub repository, I saw something called React Play Rewards. So what is that?
Yeah, I'll talk about that. So that's why open source wins is basically when one open source project gets integrated with another open source project and kind of help each other. So you must be heard about Avial. Avial is again open source community who work behind monetizing your open source stuff. So React Play is part of Avial, like many other prestigious open source projects, and that particular reward, that batch system, is come from Avial. So it means like the more contribution you make in terms of pull request, you start covering one level to another, and you get the batch which you can mint as an NFT and keep in your collection, a unique collection. So you will see like many of our contributors are in the different level based on their contributions so far, and they have different kind of badges. So that's coming from there.
Okay, got it. So now let's talk about the question is to both of you, Tapas and Kosto. So like, what is the best practices folks should follow for making a PR to any project, not just React Play?
Yeah. Okay, I'll go first, and Kostav can probably pitch in. I think the first thing that they need to do is, in my opinion, is to put some kind of description is about what they have covered as part of work that they have done, part of the pull
Yeah.
request. Now, in most of the project like in the React project also, we provide some template which will help them, like they can check boxes and kind of say that, okay, these are the things they have covered. But they can go one more step further just to explain, like, what exactly they covered, maybe some screenshot or whatever. It helps people to kind of, not only the code reviewer, even the first person who is doing the testing of the stuff, it probably going to help them a lot. So that is one thing. Second thing is they must associate the issue with the pull request. I think this is my most cry if I see a lot of pull requests. Like, what is this pull request is created for? There is no issue for that. Okay, what is this for? Moreover, there is no description. So please, there is a feature that you can actually pull out the issue and associate it with that one. If it is possible for somebody, they should put certain level. For example, if they're still working on it, they can put the pull request in the draft mode. If their work is done, they can bring from the draft mode, can bring it to the review mode. They put a label like it's a review ready or things like that if the infrastructure supports. In many cases, like how we have in the React Play, myself and Kosto are the code owner for now. So we'll be added automatically as a reviewers. But if you want somebody else to review, you can go ahead and add them as a reviewer so that they can start doing the coding. And probably a couple of etiquettes I'll say on the pull request side is like, it is your job is not done just by creating the pull request. So you need to have patience if you're creating pull requests, because a reviewer also the reviewer is also human. It's not robot who is doing the job. So reviewer is taking his or her time to do a lot of reviews and then putting the comments. So be respectful in terms of whenever you're responding to those comments. Read it. If you're not sure about it, start a discussion there or come to Discord and do the discussions. response back, whether you are continuing, you are not continuing, what is the struggle and things like that.
True. Yes.
Similarly, for the reviewer side also, I mean, we should not be very harsh in terms of giving comments, right? We always try our best. Myself, Koustov, I probably keep talking is like we have to make this harmony going on. It's like even if you see that something terribly wrong, okay, we have to tell it really, really good way that people learn from it.
Right.
It is not about pushing someone really hard. It's about making them like how to make them learn positively. So I would say that these are the things that I expect. Koustov, what do you?
I'll touch on those items probably in a different aspect. See, I would definitely say the pull request is a phased process. It's not a one day thing, it's not a snapshot. The very first thing when you are actually doing the pull request, yes, again, etiquettes. It's the very first thing that I want to see is like doesn't matter who is looking into the PR. I mean, it's a code owner, it's your peer programmer. No, anyone
Mm,
who is
okay.
actually looks into the peer without going into the file change and the list and all those things, I should be having the entire visibility what I'm going to see, and it will be pretty much plain English. It could be those checkboxes. It could be like, hey, I had this problem. This is the solution, and the issue is this. Good enough, short, crisp. I don't want to write a blog there, but anyone like tomorrow someone else is actually joining a React play, definitely he or she doesn't know that how the code structure is, but at least seeing that in information that's being created while creating the peer, he or she should be so very confident that hey, this we are supposed to do this. Now he or she will be very focused when he is looking into the change. Now this is the etiquette I always try to follow. I always want others to follow, and this makes life so very easy. We don't have to go back. See, we have it's like in general the reviewer and the coder might not be from the same region. That means you have a turnaround time. So every single time I have a question I am put in and that other person is replying after 10 hours, I'm losing a day. Okay, so have it crisp, have all the informations ready, and obviously the sanitizations in the respect of like, okay, we do have in the React play as well, but sanitization is like I should not I those variables should be correct. Those though there should not be
Mhm.
any warnings, new warnings. My deployment is properly going on. I don't have a means I will make sure that I don't have a blast radius so big that someone else will be affected. Those are I would say those are rather code based practices which automatically gets inherited into the PR
Right.
best practices. And one more thing, being a reviewer, I always have this pain. Make your code modular, small in size, small peers, good, very sweet. Reviewer will be very happy and praise you for that. A monolithic one, believe me, it's just kill. It just kill the person because we have to go back and forth, think about the logic, think about the process or the data flow that is going on, and that will be too much. So yes, as I said, it is phased, and obviously that was talked about that how the communication should be. So it's not one way communication like, hey, I said something, man, this is something that you should change or you think about a different process, and I get a reply, no, I don't want to. That is something probably it's not expected, even though it is being going on in various cases. It should be the two-way communication that is goes here. Remember that both are human, both are having their own thought process. There could be a collision, and there
Yeah.
must be collision. I would rather say there must be collision. Then only you will learn something. Even the reviewer is not a god like who will be knowing everything. He
Right.
must be learning something from
Yeah,
that
it's a
code.
both way learning process,
Yeah.
always. Yeah, that's
So
what
it's so many things I have learned from the pull request. Believe me, it's probably in hundreds and thousands. Anyway, that is the pace. Few of the things, few of the etiquettes. If we keep in mind, see, code we write, code we wrongly write or correctly write, or we structure it properly or not. That comes later. Let's have the wrapper very nice, the wrapper properly structured so that when you go inside, you know that what you're actually looking into. Yeah, that's my addition.
So, just before we end the conversation, I would also like to know what are the things folks should keep in mind while raising an issue.
I don't want them to put into any kind of box when they are going to raise an issue. So I see issues very positively for any application that you are building. Issues are for the betterment of the application at the end, because somebody is finding an issue because they have taken that time out to figure out like what is the problem and letting the platform know that this is the problem, and if the problem is fixed, the platform will benefit, and there are a lot of people who are using the platform will benefit. So the issue if they're raising is most welcome. That's the best thing. That's the first contribution that somebody can make by testing and putting things. Now while doing this issue, I think there are few things to keep in mind. Explaining the problem a bit clearly. It's not like just leaving the getting the title and have the box empty. That gives panic. We don't understand like what exactly is going to talk or she is going to talk about, and we're lost. So give some description like what exactly the thing is about. If possible, provide some screenshot that is going to make much evident. And if somebody wants to go one step ahead, they can also suggest like what are they expecting, how are they expecting this to be done, specifically for the things like when they're putting a feature request or some kind of enhancements, things like that. That will be the right thing to do, right? And again, for React Play, we have a template. We want people to follow that template, which says like, hey, is it an enhancement request or bug? What is your proposal? Give a screenshot, any additional context. So if people following that, I think that's something very superb thing to do. And we also do like whenever somebody do an issue, we have a tradition to make it as good first issue based on like the type of issue, so that if people are searching in the open source world, like what is the first issue that I want to contribute, maybe a readme update or a bug fix or a very targeted feature, it always pops up and they can actually start doing it. So for that person to understand what is the issue about, who is filing, needs to be
Right.
very clear. Yeah, of course, we want to add anything to this.
I would love to.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, issues, no binding. There is no boundary for that, because issues are two types. One is like there is a problem in the applications, that's we normally call bug, and the other thing is my thought process. And you are always welcome to put thought process. We sometimes call it as in bug, sometimes we call it as an enhancement, and there should not be any limit. When you are thinking about the application, you are thinking, hey, this is the flexbox is supposed to be go into the grid. You are correct from your thought process. Let's open up a
Mhm.
discussion. Okay, so now the point comes from the perspective like what you should put into that issue. I think Tapas covered it very well. I just want to add one more thing is like if we are talking about GitHub and most of the actually tracking application, the very I think the feature about tagging, it's very useful feature. You have tons of useful tags and go and assign, you can assign more than one tags. It's so very useful, because when we are actually looking at the issue, going to the issue page, we might be seeing 20 issues at a time because of the paginations and all those things. I might be having more than 100. But now if I have the tags properly managed, I know what I'm looking for. Some of them might be very critical for me, or maybe very severe. I want to prioritize them. I need to know, because I otherwise every 101 I have to go open, try to understand the issue. Probably it will be hectic, at least from the onlooker's perspective. Use tagging. Okay, it's true for PR as well. Use tagging extensively. It gives a lot of flexibility that how you can actually catch onlooker's eye, how you can actually put it into the context, put it into the box you wanted to. You might have some thought, but it might have been written you have given very big description, superb, it's very nice, but to read the description I have to get that particular trigger. Man, I should look into this issue right
Yeah.
today. It's probably over the week or over the month I will slowly go one after another issue, but to bring that attention you
Hmm.
need to
Yep.
have those tags. I love to use the tags. Yeah, that's my 2 cent.